Hepinize günaydın dostlar. Bugün okulumuzun düzenlediği Krakow gezisine gidiyoruz. Hazırlandık, eşyalarımızı topladık. 2 günlük bir gezi olacak bizim için. Önce Tuz Madeni'ne gideceğiz. Tuz Madeni'nden sonra Krakow'a transferimiz olacak. Ondan sonra Krakow'da akşam üzerine kadar saat yaklaşık 6'ya kadar falan bir tur rehberiyle birlikte gezeceğiz. Ondan sonra bizi serbest bir zaman bekliyor. Sabahına, öğlene kadar falan bir turumuz daha var. Ondan sonra da dönüşümüz gerçekleşecek. Evet dostlar, şimdi Tuz Madeni'ne gelmiş bulunmaktayız, sıradayız. Bu madenin en önemli özelliği dünyanın en eski tuz madenlerinden birisiymiş ve tarihi öncesi çağlardan kalmaymış. İçerisini daha önce görmüştüm. Bir kere daha gelip videoya kaydetme şansı doğdu bana. Bakalım, güzel bir video çıkacak mı ortaya?
Okay, now my friends, welcome downstairs. We're 65 meters below the ground, okay? Now, a few things to tell you before we start the tour. We will walk through the corridors and chambers. We will see about 20 of them, yeah, 20 plus. The tour will take us more or less 2 hours, okay? And we will walk 2 kilometers here, okay? It's actually 1% of the corridors and chambers which are in the mine here, okay? Like, you know, there are basically 9 levels here. We are going to go down to the level number 3, okay? And the rest of the levels are actually not for tourists, they're just for miners, okay? And maintenance stuff. A couple of things. Now, you can take pictures, you can ask questions, and you can have good fun. One more thing, no vaping, no smoking cigarettes, no open fire, you know, for safety and security measures, okay? And please, there is a system of cables here, right? Please do not touch the cables and any electrical devices, okay? Now, there is a lot of people in the mine, so we have to come down as the group and we have to go out as the group. We have been going down through the stairs. We're gonna go down, we're gonna go up by the lift, so no worries, okay? But remember, my name is Wojciech. There will be a few chambers where there will be more than one group, okay? Now, it's very important for you to stick to my group, okay? Because if we leave the chamber together, yeah, you will leave the mine with me, okay? Very, very important. Remember my face, remember my name. When I'm calling you, please come to me to leave the chamber, okay? We gotta go, yeah? Ready? Yes. Let's do it. Now, it's a chamber, but it's, you know, you see these wooden structures on both sides here, yeah? Why do we have them here, yeah? Well, generally, miners, when they excavated salt, and they started excavating salt 700 years ago here, they, like, you know, empty spaces below the ground appeared, right? And, well, you know, rock basically works, yeah? And, you know, if there was a danger for some chamber to cave in, and there was a danger for some chambers to cave in, then they used to build these wooden structures, right? Now, we will see a lot of them, like this, okay? They used to be built from coniferous trees, because coniferous trees timber is flexible. So, you know, if the rock works, then the timber works as well. Not really metal, but timber, because in the environment full of salt, metal, what does metal do? It rusts, right? Now, things like this, yeah? You know, we will see more of them on the way. Like, these machines were used to transport salt up to the surface after the excavations, okay? Let's continue, okay? Now, we are in the place where, as you can see around, like, salt is everywhere, right? The other group was actually licking salt. I mean, feel free to do it. it has, like, salt has antiseptic features. So basically, if you want to do it, go ahead, right? Now, the white color in the corridors, right? Now, first of all, corridors were, as you can see, they are winding, you know, they are turning left and right. Why? Well, they didn't know where salt actually was, right? So they were kind of blind, going right, going left. And when they came upon a huge brick of salt, yeah, like a lump of salt, then they started excavating it, and that's why we have chambers here, right? And the white color, because, you know, the corridors were not lit in the past. Miners used to wear these head torches, right? And white color used to reflect light, and that's why it was, in many places you will see white color in these kind of corridors, okay? Okay. You flipped enough? Okay, now, the chamber, named after the famous Polish astronomer, Nicholas Copernicus, who used to live in the north of Poland, in Toruń, a good place to visit if you haven't been there. But he studied at the Krakow Academy, yeah, and when he was a student, he is believed to be the first tourist here in the mine, okay? Now, whether it's a legend or not, nobody knows, but this is what people believe. It was really difficult to become the first tourist here. He is believed to require a special permit from the king to be able to visit the mine. He did not live for 500 years. No, he did not. He is believed to visit the mine in the 15th century, and this is the 500th anniversary when this figure was created. And now we're going to see quite a few figures like this. They are created by amateur artists who worked here as miners, okay? They were not professionals. They were amateurs, you know, gifted miners who, apart from excavating salt, they also did these kind of things. We cannot really touch the figures because they melt, right? But
They're also made of salt?
They are all made of salt, yeah, of course. Okay, so this is the first chamber, you know, some more wooden constructions, yeah? We're gonna see 20 more of them, so let's go, there's a lot. Okay, so what does the legend say? The legend says the following. There was the Hungarian princess called Kinga, and in the old days, you know, you could not just select somebody who you wanted to marry. You know, these were arranged marriages that were, you know, in place in the old days. And she found out from her father that she would marry a Polish duke, Bolesław the Bashful. And then when she found it out, she said, "Oh, well, what can I give to the Polish people, right? Like, you know, what kind of gift can I give to them?" And in that time, there were already salt mines in Hungary. So her father took her to the Hungarian mine. She dropped her engagement ring into the shaft, and then she decided to go to Poland to meet her future husband. And when that happened, you know, in the area by Wieliczka, when they started digging in the first lump of salt, when they crushed it, they found this engagement ring, and that's how it all started here. I mean, this is what at least the legend says, right? She kind of brought salt from Hungary here to Poland, and then it was the start of excavations, right? More than 700 years ago. Well, and there's you know, normally there's one truth. Here there are two truths actually, right? And you know, when we go further, I'll tell you more about it, so you'll find out, okay? This is the chamber, one more, and it reminds us of another danger that was in place when excavations were in operations here, and that was the gas called methane. Odorless, colorless, but dangerous because in connection with oxygen, yeah, it exploded. So these people you can see in front of you, they were the most experienced miners who were crawling wearing wet clothes, yeah, and they were holding these poles, and their job was to burn methane in a controlled way, okay, so that so that we don't have major explosions, but they did it in a controlled way. So today, in mines we have various sorts of equipment to measure the methane, and when it's detected, then these corridors or these parts are closed. In the past, they had to burn it this way. Today, no salt is excavated here anymore since the 1990s. Okay, so there's no more of this danger anymore here. Okay, but in the past, maybe it wasn't that much methane as in the coal mines, but still, when you excavate in the rock, this gas is kind of stored and it releases into the earth, right? So this is what it was. Okay. Somebody just asked me whether they were only human workers here. Not only there used to be horses working the mine. In the 17th century, there were up to 60 horses working here. They were lowered down and they stayed here for quite some time, for years. They were not transported up and down every year because it was a stressful experience for them. Special sort of harnesses were used to lower these horses down, and they actually were well treated, yeah. And they were used to transport salt horizontally because salt was not only exploited here by the shafts, but in different kind of places. So these kind of barrels, these kind of sledges were used to transport here. The last horse stopped working here about 20 years ago. Now, one comment. The next chamber we're going to see will be the one where there is more than one group, okay? It's important for you to stick to my group because when we're entering the chamber, we have to leave the chamber altogether, okay? Okay. Two things here in this chamber. This machine that you can see in front of you, it used to be used to transport salt up to the surface as the counterbalance. Other materials, such as timber, that was used to create these structures, was transported down to various levels of the mine. Okay. Now, 4 horses were hooked to the arms. Okay, and they were going one or the other way. There was a system of rolled lines, and they were going up or down. We will see some more of these things in a couple of minutes. No point. They're not smoking. No, they're not smoking. But the rock salt started to be excavated here 700 years ago. Yeah, but people living in this area, various cultures, various tribes, they noticed water is coming from inside the ground. They had this salty taste, right? So what did they do? They started to collect these waters, put them in the clay pots. They used to put them over fire. They evaporated water, and they got salt, right? So this is what they do. This is what they did before rock salt was discovered here. And then various cultures, they started, to dig wells, yeah, here in this area. And the more wells were dug, the deeper they were, yeah. And that's how they actually got to rock salt. They started drilling wells, and one day they actually suddenly found out, oh, we have rock salt here, right? And that's how we are here, and the operations of salt excavations started here. Let's move on, because there is one more interesting place for us to see. They prayed a lot before every shift and after every shift. Yeah, they prayed, and here down the mine they also prayed using these chapels or places of worship. And these are the examples of wandering chapels. So, you know, where they were, they could pray. Because, you know, if they were here, they set up a chapel in this place. When they moved somewhere else in search of salt, they set up a chapel in that place, okay? Basically, in the past there were up to 40 places of worship in the mine. We're going to see a very impressive place in a moment, okay? Saint Kinga Chapel, okay? I'll tell you a bit about the chapel up on the balcony. When we go down, I'll give you 5 minutes to walk around the chapel on your own, okay? There will be some more groups in the chapel, okay? So when I call you after 3, 4, 5 minutes, hey, it's Wojtek group leaving, please come to the to the entrance of the chapel, okay? But it's 9 meters deep. It's 9 meters deep. It's not really possible to drown here because it's fully saturated brine. But don't try to swim. I'm just, you know, warning you. Now, we are 125 levels below the ground, almost as far, as deep as we can be, okay? Now, the last lake on the way. Well, there's a nice story to share here. In this place, in the past, up until the beginning of the 20th century, official parades were organized, you know, people taking boats when the boat capsized, and 4 soldiers died. They did not drown, but they suffocated. Yeah, you know, it's not possible to get drowned in these waters, but they suffocated. So this is when these parades were actually ceased to be arranged. It's like, I don't know, like, you know, how you like this place, but it's, I would say this place is different from others. And the figure of Saint Nepomucen, if you have been to Prague, you will see the figure of Saint Nepomucen on Charles Bridge, because he is the patron of Prague. And the patron of people drowning, bridges, waters, and so on and so forth. Basically, there's one more chamber that you're going to see, and it will be the end of everything. But I'll tell you in a moment, okay? Okay.
Ve o korkunç asansöre geldik. Çok kötü. Çok kötü arkadaşlar, sakın bilmeyin. Çok korkuyorum. Asansör değil mi bu? Yine fake attılar.
What did I say? What did I say?
Madenden çıktıktan sonra servisimizle birlikte Modern Sanat Müzesi'ne gittik. Sonrasında ise hostele yerleşip şehri gece tek başımıza gezdik. Bu videoyu bir sonraki video olarak atacağım. Sonrasında ise rehber eşliğinde Krakow'u gezdiğimiz videoyu atacağım. Videolarımızdan haberdar olmak için abone olmayı unutmayın. Desteğiniz için teşekkürler.
Olha quando estoy, lleno de veneno.